Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome if you're watching on YouTube. Welcome if you're watching at the Energy Healing School and Community. Welcome if you're watching on the Facebook group. Welcome to Energy Healing TV and Podcast. For those who may not know, my name is Robin Knott. I am the founder of the Energy Healing School Online and the host of Energy Healing TV and Podcast on both YouTube and Rumble. I am also the lead soul guided instructor of the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Network and Soul Legacy Academy with Iona Mead. If you've not subscribed yet to the Soul Legacy TV, it's Soul Legacy TV, Spiritual Business Success with Iona, please do that now. Iona focuses and helps us with success in business and spirituality without doing busy work, being broke, or experiencing burnout. And she takes us on the soul path of least resistance for time, energy, and financial freedom, serving one to many to earn passive and leveraged soul client income. So now that I had said that very quickly, I went on a whim to start this playlist. So for those, again, who may not know, I am starting to write my book, and my brain goes everywhere. So I'm hoping that some people come on, whether it's live or replay, and give some feedback and share some of your own insights and opinions and go on this journey with me, right? So today's video is financial freedom, a gauge for self-love. All of those words have triggered me. All of those words have created resistance. I'm saying that in past tense. However, in transparency and honesty, they still do. So our beliefs, right, which can change, and ultimately there are some that we want to change, and we make efforts to change, and we purposely change, and we heal some stuff around that, clear some of those old programmed, conditioned beliefs that don't serve us or anyone else for that matter, right? But those beliefs that are rooted in our human life experiences in the root chakra. So beliefs about financial freedom, let's start there. What does that mean for you? When I first thought about financial freedom, I really thought about just being able to pay my own bills. That was financial freedom to me, because if I could pay my own bills, that meant I was independent, and then nobody could have power and control over me, right? And that's looking at a very individual, small point of view, just my individual human life experience, not expanding out and really looking at a macro level, incorporating government or spirituality or any of the higher, bigger things in life, just in my own personal relationships. But that's what financial freedom had meant to me, right? It was my level of understanding. It's how I looked at it. I was young and I was trying to figure myself out and trying to figure out my place in the world, trying to figure out what I wanted to be and what I wanted to do, how that was going to look, right? Start a family, take care of my family. I didn't even think about financial freedom when I had a family. It was like basic needs need to be met. My children need to be taken care of. Their basic needs need to be met. So things like financial freedom to travel and build memories and do these extra fun things, I didn't necessarily incorporate them because I had that limited view and got in my way and assumed that, right? And that trade for time and money, thinking and assuming that I was only capable and allowed to have a certain amount, because then there's beliefs about selfishness and greed and power and control, right? So all of those things, is this hitting it for anybody else? It can't be just me, right? What was it like for you? What is it like for you to hear financial freedom? What does that mean? What does it mean? So I've thought about, getting rich and being rich and having millions, be a millionaire or a billionaire, because, hey, inflation, right? Is that financial freedom? What does it mean to be financially free? And to be honest, at this moment right now, not to say it won't change, in this moment, I don't have a dollar amount to place on that. because I'm finding that it changes and it shifts. So it doesn't necessarily require a dollar amount for financial freedom, because we can manifest, we can allow and receive things, experiences, opportunities, objects, whatever it may be, whatever we may need in different forms. So I needed a laptop. I didn't gain the money to go buy the laptop, but I was gifted a laptop. Like, that's just an example, right? So that's financial freedom, though. But because I needed the laptop and I received the laptop, I then didn't have to stress over the money to go buy a laptop, right? It evened itself out. That greed and power and control, not wanting to be in the position of being controlled, and also not wanting to feel like I have that power and control over someone else, or like dangling the carrot of a dollar, right? Not getting sucked into that style of belief or selfishness when we think of self-love. So, to clarify, when I speak of self love, I am not speaking of selfishness. I'm not speaking of human ego-ness. I'm not speaking of greed. I'm not speaking of, it's all about me and screw the rest of the world. I'm not speaking of, I need to be placed on a pedestal. None of that. I am talking about unconditional love for all of us, right? We're all a collective of human beings on this planet. We're all a collection of energy. We're all a collection of God, source, creator, whatever name you use in your relationship with a higher power. We all are meant to be on a level playing field in the sense of unconditional love. I don't have to be tortured for you to be loved, and you don't have to be tortured or do without for me to be loved, right? And I think we get that twisted because that's not how I was taught. It's not the program or the conditions that I am used to, or the way I understood them, or the way I internalized them. And some of that's just me and my own processes. And again, my level of understanding at different times in my life, or how I understood different examples and experiences in life. And again, how I internalize them, right? And that's true for all of us. You have your life experience, you have your level of understanding at different times in your life. You have different ways, that you might internalize those and create even more beliefs, or justify and add to the beliefs that you've already had, gain new ones, change them, shift them, however it may be. Our minds are very powerful. Words are powerful. However, I find in my own frustrations, one word can mean different things to different people. So what kind of energy do we bring about in the words that we choose, right? How we understand them. How I understood self-love in the past would be more in line with selfishness, greed, just icky stuff, like only thinking about self, the humanness self, being in that ego space. That would have been my point of view about self-love in the past, where now my point of view and my perspective of self-love isn't that at all. It's on that higher perspective. It's about our soul. It's about spirit. It's about unconditional love. I cannot love you unconditionally if I'm hating myself. I cannot share the energy and uplifting that higher vibration of unconditional love if I am beating myself up with blame, shame, and guilt. It doesn't work. I tried it. It doesn't work. We can do things in the name or, intention of love, but the energy and vibration is different. And then oftentimes what can happen is that we then feel drained and beat down, and right, like people are being energy vampires. I couldn't think of the term there for a minute. Or we feel like we're being taken advantage of, or being that doormat, or all those icky things that come along with it afterwards, because we cycle that energy, we cycle those beliefs, we cycle those feelings, we cycle those thoughts, we cycle those patterns within ourself, right? And that worthiness, which is another word I wanted to talk about, which is the title of the book, The Worthiness Trap. And why is it a trap? Because When we think of worthiness, oftentimes we have a belief about ourselves. So do we believe that we are worthy? Do you believe that you are worthy? And sometimes we say yes, and we feel very confident, and we feel very firm and rooted in that belief. And sometimes, for me at least, I've noticed that it's not that. When I feel that, that's my ego defending. What did that feel like for you to hear? It was my ego defending. It was my ego trying to jump forward and be like, yeah, I'm worthy. Darn right, I know I am. And I'm worthy because blah, blah, blah. Right? Who gets to decide? Who determines what's worthy, what's not? Who sets the guidelines to say something or someone is worthy or not? In my point of view, we are all worthy in the eyes of God, Source Creator. All of us, every single one of us, we all have a purpose, and we know we have a purpose because we are here. We can talk about a purpose trap too, because in our humanness and our ego gets in our way and starts to redefine or starts to justify or starts to question or starts to doubt or starts to fear or starts to criticize. Inner critic, yeah. Inner critic wants to come forward. Inner critic of human ego wants to come forward and with the little checklist like, oh, you screwed that up. You're not worthy. You don't deserve that. You don't deserve financial freedom. You don't deserve, and it can play either way. Either you're not good enough or you're so righteous. You don't need that. You don't need that. You are a spiritual, loving being. You give your purpose. Your purpose is to give. You give it all away. You don't need it. You live minimally. You help other people. It feels good to help other people. We know you're doing the right thing in the name of love to help other people. You don't receive and put other people out, right? But what is all of that saying? I'm not worthy, everyone else is. But again, how does that happen? Because when I'm done giving away everything I have and I have nothing left, then what do I give? And I know there's that statement that the more you give, the more you receive. And I don't dispute that. But for some of us, we take it to extreme. The more you give, the more you receive. But when the receiving came, I didn't actually receive it. Do you hear the difference in that? There's energy flow in giving and receiving. Yeah. I give out, I receive in. I give out, I receive in. Except I would give out and it come to receive in. I go, boop, block it, and try to give out more. And when it would come to back to me, boop, didn't know, nope, I don't need it. I won't take it. Either because I'm trying to feel righteous, and I don't mean intentionally, but I'm trying to feel good about myself. I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to do what I think is the right thing or what I believe is the right thing to feel good about myself and helping other people and living my purpose, so I block it. And there's times in that deep-rooted belief of unworthiness, right? I'm not worthy to receive them. Because when I receive that, I feel like I'm putting you out, and I don't want to put you out because I don't feel that I'm greedy and selfish, right? Our brains can cycle all of that stuff. And those beliefs are deep, deep, again, rooted in our human life experience, part of energy and the root chakra. So if you're not familiar with the term money blocks, those are a few. Those are a few. Anything that gets in our way of allowing ourselves to receive, whether it's worthiness or unworthiness, whether it's feeling selfish, whether it's a spiritual belief, whether it's challenging and testing ourselves. What is it? What stops you? Do you recognize money blocks for yourself? I'm going to pull up real quick from my phone. I did a poll in the Facebook group. You guys probably seen this, right? Many of you, thank you for placing your votes as well. I even posted something very similar on my personal page, and I was limited. I didn't realize when we post in the community on YouTube, like how many lines that we can use. So I did another brief example in that one. Let me get to the group to pull up here it is. So criticize yourself. We had 10 votes, one being mine, like just so you know, I voted all of the ones that I'm going to mention. So criticize yourself. Very much be a money block. Because what do we tell ourselves in that sense of criticism? One of my beliefs, let's talk about money blocks, is that you have to work hard for money, right? You have to work hard. So I can reflect back and tell you and share some examples of when I made work harder to feel like I was accomplishing that, to feel that it was okay to receive, that I worked hard enough to receive. So it's interesting, and Iona can share this with you too, and working with me through some of the stuff, right? That teaching me to not trade time for money. So as we try to place a value, like a dollar amount value on something, right? It's not about the time. It's about the value. So when you have a difficulty or challenge with those beliefs, it makes it then challenging and difficult to place a money or dollar amount on it, right? You're like, well, it took me this amount of time, or behind the scenes that people don't see how much time and effort you actually put into things when you're creating like a course or a book or an ebook or a blog or anything, right? A video, preparing for a video. You see a certain amount of it, right? If I go purchase an online course, I see the video that's available. I see the workbooks that are available, the handouts that are available. I don't get to see the behind the scenes part of whatever trainings that instructor went through before they could create this course, or the research they did before they could create this course, or how many times they sat in front of a computer or a notebook, finding the words, finding the flow, finding the information that they want to share in order to teach whatever topic they're teaching, right? We don't get to see all of that, because if we did, I think we would have a different perspective on placing value on those courses, on those ebooks, on those whatever it is, videos, right? Criticizing self. So then to say within self, what's good enough, what isn't? You didn't do that right. That's not good enough. You know, I could feel my inner critic wanting to come up today before hopping on this video. You didn't prepare for this video enough. You have an idea of what you want to cover and talk about. I know you like to get into flow, you know, just allowing yourself to be open and then receive whatever comes in. And, you know, whoever sees it is going to see it. And if someone hops in and has something to say, we'll bring up a perspective that you need to hear. Maybe someone else will hear, whatever. Just this inner chatter of the inner critic, almost trying to talk me out of not doing it, or waiting, delaying until it's good enough, right? Maybe you should wait. You'd made this decision kind of last minute today to get on this video, and maybe you should wait until you have an outline of what you can talk about, what you should talk about, things you want to cover, blah, 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 right? Inner critic just chattering away. And it does block us. It blocks us in our daily lives and our successes and our relationships and many different things. So that too can be a money block. How do I show up for an interview and feel confident and present myself well in an interview if I have an inner critic chattering in my ear telling me that I'm not worthy enough for that position, or I'm not worthy enough for that? Maybe you should find a different job. Maybe you shouldn't, you know, you can only make this much money because you really didn't have the training. Or maybe you did have the training, but you just didn't give yourself enough credit because you don't feel like you did well enough, blah, blah, like, right? Anybody else go through things like that? Can definitely get in our way. Yeah. Self-love, the money blocks, like all the things, right? Financial freedom. Do we deserve the financial freedom? Are we doing it right? Are we doing it well? Am I asking for too much? Am I being greedy? What do I mean by financial freedom? Am I trying to be rich? Am I trying to, right? Do I want to just scrape by and put myself through that? I just need bare minimums. What does it mean to be financially free? What does it mean to you? Because that's what's most important. Not what it means to me, but what it means to you, right? For your financial freedom. feeling like a misfit. Again, if I feel like a misfit, it was really awkward. If you, anyone who's been on this ride with me from the beginning can see a difference, I assume, from my first videos, how terrified I was to get on camera, I wanted everything scripted and to be perfect, and then just not feeling like the same, comparing self to other people doing videos or creating courses or all the things, just feeling like the oddball out can make it difficult to feel confident or just show up or speak, being willing to share your own beliefs and your own thoughts, being willing to create a course to share because, right, it may not fit the mold, which we don't want to fit anyway, so we say, but yet when we don't, then we feel like a misfit, or we criticize ourselves and we feel like an oddball and we don't feel good enough and worthy and all those things. Another one was fear of making mistakes, fear of failure, falls right in line, just another repeat basically of what I had said, how one thing can lead to another, right? It's not going to be good enough, I'm going to fail. Nobody will want it, or I'll get criticism. I ask for feedback, but I really mean just good feedback, because I'm going to feel terrible and I might give up and quit or I'll feel like other people are criticizing me if they give me feedback that says I could do something better, which in all reality, we want that feedback because we do want to do better. It's just our ego, humanness, getting things twisted, right? And then reject compliments and praise was another on the poll. So how many of you reject that compliment or praise? We minimize it, toss it aside. Hey, you did a really good job. And then, oh no, I could have done better. Oh, thanks. It would have, it was good because I got information from someone else. Or it was good because, let me change the reason why it's good. It wasn't just because I did a good job, because I can't receive that compliment. Because I'm too busy feeling like a misfit and criticizing myself and not loving myself enough. Right? Or not receiving the love. Because again, when I say self-love, I don't mean humanness self-love. I mean unconditional love from God, source, creator, that type of self-love, allowing ourselves to receive that. Because when I say I don't love myself enough, then I'm basically kind of saying, God, source, creator, you didn't do good enough for me. You sucked. you created this. Yeah, you really could have done a better job at that. Just saying. Right? Now, maybe I can be a better human, but that part's on me. Have a desire to help others more than yourself. See, there's that not so selfish part of us that we oftentimes dismiss and reject as well. Not saying that we have to take that as a compliment and be righteous with it. And like when I say righteous, I don't mean, because we do want to be right in a sense, want to do the right things when it comes to our moral compass, doing things for unconditional love, doing things for the highest good, doing things for the betterment of our collective. I don't mean like I'm right and you're wrong. That type of righteousness is wonky, right? So having that desire to help others more than yourself is not a bad thing. But again, we have to still take care of ourselves because, as that saying goes, you can't pour from an empty cup. We can give and give and give, but we have to allow some receiving too, in some way or another. Whatever it is for you, we get to decide for ourselves, right? What actually refills our cup? It may be from another human being. It may be through meditation and just allowing ourselves to receive the energy of unconditional love, like when we pray and meditate. It could be what I call puppy loves. I love animals, so just being able to see my dog, whatever it is for you, fun times with the grandchildren, with your children, with friends, whatever it is. But receive it. Allow yourself to receive it. Excuse me. Lack boundaries. I'm being shown this more recently in the areas where I still need to practice boundaries, because when we don't practice boundaries, we're also showing ourselves that we don't allow ourselves to receive the love of God's source creator. If we allow ourselves to be treated like a doormat, then we're not loving ourselves in the way that God's source creator loves us. Just being that love. So having those boundaries allows us to say, I am worthy. You are worthy. Where do we flow together? Right? Where is that balance? Where is that flow? I know it's not an evil. When I say balance, I just mean a back and forth. There's reciprocity there. There's give and take there. There's in and outward flow there. I don't necessarily mean like you have to put a level on it and it has to be perfectly even and balanced. That's not what I mean, because sometimes it's more teeter-totter. You're just staying off the ground. You're not flying off the end or smack on the ground. You're kind of balancing in between, but there are ups and downs through that process, right? So that kind of balance, that kind of boundaries, and without the boundaries, we do that. We're going to flip over the top or we're going to smack the bottom. Try to save the world. It's not our job. I always felt like it was. Like, that's my purpose. Not to save the world in that extreme, but in that sense of being a rescuer, wanting to caretake and care give, which I still do. Doing the jobs, the professions of helping, right? The purpose of wanting to do these videos, of wanting to write my book, of creating the courses is to be able to help in some way. So my own life experiences aren't in vain. I want to believe, I do believe that I had these life experiences for a purpose and a reason. I may not always understand what they were. And finding those ways to use those life experiences, the ups, the downs, and the in-betweens, to help someone. There's enough of us here, we're going to have similarities, right? It may not be exact experiences, it may not be exact beliefs and feelings and thoughts about the experiences, but similarities. I'm sure we can resonate and connect with each other. Sometimes we take things personally. So again, sometimes when we do stuff or someone says something, one example could be Facebook, right? So as you're scrolling on Facebook and you notice your friend or family member made this post and they made this comment, and you're like, oh, are you talking about me? Was that meant for me? Is that a passive aggressive comment towards me? Right? And taking it personal. And maybe it was, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't. I noticed in first staying here with mom, it was an adjustment to try to determine what I was personalizing and what was actually meant for me, right? Because when other people are around us and they're having their own things that they're going through and they're having their own struggles and they're projecting out their own wherever they're at with it, it's easy to grab a hold of that, especially as an empath, and you feel it, right? You just invade your energetic space, your energy body, and we take it on and we own it like it's ours. That comment, observe, don't absorb. It's not always ours to take. It's not always ours to fix, but oftentimes we take it personally because we feel it personally. We have that fear of rejection, right? It's not fun to do a video and have people make nasty comments. It stinks. It stinks. And I don't mean like constructive criticism. I mean just that, people are where they are and they project out, right? Not just that. It was just an example that came up because here we are. But fear of rejection. And money. How do I have financial freedom if I'm always fearing rejection? How am I going to move forward and succeed in something if I fear making that mistake? How do I, as Iona says, show up, speak out, and serve deep if I'm going to fear the rejection? If I fear making mistakes? Jennifer commented on Facebook on the poll, that imposter syndrome. How do we show up as our best selves, feeling like the imposter, feeling like we wear a mask? I've noticed that sometimes when I get on camera and I start talking and I let the energy flow, I just feel like this. When I watch it back, I'm like, oh my goodness. But it's like I just want to smile and I feel good and it's calming and I get excited about having conversation with whomever might see the video and make a comment and blah, blah, blah. Or Who am I to share that? Who am I to teach it? I haven't mastered that. I'm still a human being. I'm still living a human life experience. Who am I to tell you about financial freedom? Right? I'm just using that example, whatever yours may be. Having the imposter syndrome. Who am I not to? Who are you not to? Right? Share it. It's more like, who are we to judge other people's journeys? But we don't normally say that, do we? Do we call ourselves on that enough? We're too busy internalizing in that fear, and the fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of success. Because what would my life mean if I succeed? What would my relationships be like if I succeed? I can remember my dad when I was in college and I actually got good grades. I was blown away and excited, like, oh my gosh, I actually did it, because I sucked in school. I didn't do well in school. So to go to college and be able to, and talk, I don't want to say criticism, but there's those guidelines. You have to incorporate these things in the paper, and you have to write this way, and you have to make, whatever. So to be able to accomplish that and to have that excitement, and then, Dad's like, gee, how did he say that? Now I try to block it. Keep this up and you'll be too good to talk to us. Like, what? What? Mm-hmm. Because other people have fears too, right? We're not the only ones. So then what does that look like? So what does that mean? I can't talk to my family if I succeed because I'll be seen as an outcast more. I have to downplay everything. That's that conditional programming too. Downplaying, dismissing, rejecting, blocking, so that we can feel we can fit in. We're not that misfit, right? What do you guys do to not feel like a misfit? Or do you celebrate your misfitness? Creating words here. That misfitness. Kind of like it. Another would be blame yourself for things you did not actually do. Not a whole lot of votes on that one. I did put it there because we can do that too. We can do that too. If someone takes our course and says, I didn't get anything out of it, maybe they didn't do anything with it, right? But now I'm internalizing and blaming myself. How could I do this differently? They didn't get anything out of the course. Well, I mean, you have to do it, right? If you don't do it, of course, you're not going to get anything out of it. But I do that, blame myself. In my own journey, as I've shared a little bit here and there, the codependency thing, right? Blaming myself. Mom's having a bad day. What did I do wrong? It's my fault. It gets tricky and sticky sometimes with personal accountability. What is ours? Because in the same note, no, it's not my fault. I can't make someone feel a certain way. However, how I take care of myself, what kind of energy I share or project out, can definitely affect how other people respond or receive, or how they're settling in, right? Because whether other people realize it or not, they're also probably feeling our energy or a sense of it, getting some kind of vibe from it, and reacting and responding to us as well, right? So keeping that in mind, not the blame, shame, and guilt, but having that awareness and taking care of ourselves so that we can present in the best way that we can, our best versions of ourselves. Therefore, self-love, financial freedom. The thing that excites me the most when I think about financial freedom is the memories. That idea and concept of, building memories. I have grandkids. I reflect on the time missed with my own children, working, going to school. I had this idea and concept that I was a late bloomer, right? Late starter going to college, that I would go to school, get a degree, so then I could take care of my family. Well, might have been a great idea had I, one, started before I had kids, because by the time I graduated, so was my oldest. So how did that really work out? And then 2, picking and choosing a career, or it doesn't even have to be college and career in that aspect, but seeing what I want to do, like really exploring that and allowing myself to have an open perspective of what that may look like for financial freedom. Because truth be told, I picked a career that I thought in that moment that it would fulfill my purpose in social work to help people. And I love that. I do love to help people. However, it's not the type of career that you really gain a lot of financial freedom, because the types of jobs oftentimes, I won't say all of them, oftentimes are lower paying jobs, right? So if you have a partner where you're sharing financial responsibilities and you're able to have all of your basic needs met, then it might be enough and work out great and fine. Or if you're able to find different roles and positions, that would be fine. Most of what I worked in was nonprofit, so therefore the income was lower, right? Not saying that I couldn't pay my bills, but to have that freedom to like go on vacations or those sorts of things. And then money management too. And again, though, the trick is all these things play a role, because there's what's worthy, what isn't. Am I worthy to receive, and how much am I worthy to receive? Do I have to pick and choose every little thing? Do I have to prioritize every little thing? Do I have to pinch every single penny? Another belief is that waste not, want not, right? I can't waste it. I have to use all the things. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like, I actually still have some value. I value that belief to a degree. I don't like to waste. Like, what's the purpose of wasting? Why would you want to waste it? However, we don't have to beat ourselves up for it either. I notice I still cringe. Like, my mom will be like, no, leave this out because I might use it, or I might food. Don't freeze the bread, like certain kind of bread. I think I'm probably going to eat that within a couple days. Okay. Are you sure? Because we could freeze it so we don't have to throw it away if you don't eat it. No, leave it out. Guess what we'll be throwing out? Like, it still drives me nuts. It's one of those rooted beliefs that's like, oh, stop wasting stuff. Do you guys have that? Or are you just kind of able to, oh, whatever, enough of that, throw the rest away, no big deal? Because also, if we think about the universe and the unlimited resources available to us, and it's not a big deal, and in a sense, it's not wasting, because if you think of composting, depending on what it is, right, it breaks back down into dirt, which goes back into the soil, whether you dump it, your garbage picks it up and it goes to the landfill, it breaks back down, and I am speaking food specifically on that, and then can re-nourish the soil. So depending on how you look at it, is it a sense of recycling? Can we reuse things, or is it actually wasting? Beliefs, they're important. How does it block us? When I think of penny pinching and I narrow things down so tightly, then that means that I believe I'm still in that lack energy, and I'm not allowing myself to receive beyond that limited focus, that limited space. So working on that expansion, right? Easing up on those beliefs and working on the expansion and allowing myself to receive. Again, not to be greedy. And I think for me, will this be for you too, to keep checking yourself on that? Like reminding yourselves it's not greed. Or we can even ask to check, am I being greedy? No, it's not greed. I'm not, hurting others to get more. There's that other saying, it's a dog eat dog world. I'm not out there harming other people to get ahead. I'm not stomping on other people to get ahead. There's differences in that energy. So yeah, how did we do? We talked about rooted beliefs about money, finances. Some, only some, there's so many more. I'm going to walk each video through what I call best you, which is in line with the 7 main chakras of the body, right? So the beliefs in our root chakra, emotions in our sacral chakra, self. I was labeling that self-esteem, self-identity, self-ego, just human self in our solar plexus. Transformation in the heart chakra. That's that space where the higher and lower chakras meet. So we can, at that point, choose if we are ready to meet the energies with compassion and love and pivot up into the higher chakras. Or sometimes we have to dip back down and repeat. We have to go back and revisit those beliefs in the root chakra, right? And follow that back up into the soul or the sacral chakra and the solar plexus. Your truth spoken in the throat chakra. That was kind of a big thing as a response on the Your Truth, because there's a lot of talk in the communities or just out in social medias, maybe elsewhere, about what truth means, what it is. And when I'm speaking about truth, I'm not saying that I'm right, you're wrong. I'm just sharing that in my acronym, in my what I'm doing here, and my purpose, and my looking within, and my self-awareness, and the healing journey, the self-love journey. When I'm talking about your truth and you speaking your truth, what your beliefs are, what your emotions are, how you identify with yourself, what resonates with you, what your opinion is, what your perspective is. That's what I mean about your truth. We don't have to stifle our opinions. You know, many people are out talking about freedom of speech. Well, how do you support freedom of speech in one hand and then stifle people in the next, right? I mean, people do it. But again, for best you, the why in you is your truth. It's covered in the throat chakra. It's the throat chakra is the energy, the space of our communication, both hearing and verbalizing, or what energy we extend out. And then the O, observer, in the third eye chakra. So being able to really gain that self-awareness, looking within, sitting with ourselves, being present in that now moment, pulling that now moment in even more. If you've taken my 5 days, 5-day Money Blocks Clearing Challenge, you know that that final step is your now story. Your now story. We oftentimes talk about the head and setting your goals, and that's a thing, and that's great, and there's purpose in that. And I'm not saying we don't do that, but I am saying that we focus on that now, because now is the most important moment in your life, this moment right now, and it changes in every moment. Yeah? But that's great, and it's beautiful and empowering, because in and every moment we have an opportunity to make another choice. Being observant of that, being aware of that for yourself, looking within my own beliefs, more than looking out here to judge other people and what they're doing, right? And then top of the head, the crown chakra, unconditional love, the you in you, YOU, unconditional love from God, source, creator. Pulling that in, clearing our chakras, clearing our own beliefs and perspectives, clearing that self-worth, clearing self-love, the ideas of selfishness, clearing enough to not get sucked into human selfishness, because it can be a fine line, right? And it's not up to other people to determine for us if it's selfish or not. Other people will have an opinion. We have our own opinions, and that's okay. But is it unconditional love for all of us? Is it unconditional love for you and me, not one or the other? That space, right? Can I see that when I have financial freedom, how that benefits others, how that allows me to give even more? Can I see that? Can you see that? When I allow myself that self-love, self being highest self, spirit self, God, source, creator, created in his image, right? Energy, love, self, allowing that to be present, how that helps other people, how that allows me even more love to share and to give to others. not in that selfish, greedy way, but in that unconditional love for you too way. Let me know how that resonates. Let me know if it makes sense. Let me know what your beliefs are about worthiness. When it comes to you, when it comes to others, when it comes to what you would like to receive, how you would like to live this human life experience. Who gets to choose what or who is worthy? Who gets to choose? For me in my past, it's been my inner critic, which is why I'm going to write this book, which is why I created the course, which is why I want to help dismantle these money blocks, right? Which is why I want to talk about the self-love in a different way, which is why I want to support you in financial freedom. If that is what you're looking to do, if that's what you're looking for, right? So many of us have struggled every single day for far too long to make ends meet. We have struggled every single day trying to get a step ahead, going in deeper debt just to have a moment of, hey, this was fun, right? I don't know about you guys, but I still have credit cards I'm paying on that I've had for years. I don't feel the stress of that right now. I was feeling it and I got a job. In a sense, so let me wrap up with this. Here's a thought. If you don't know me in my recent history, I went from a social worker who provided mental health and substance abuse treatment. So I have a master's degree, and I had, past tense, I did let it expire purposely, a license in social work so that I could provide these treatments, right? I let that go to choose to do my own purpose. I didn't really know how to create a business and how I was going to make all these pieces fit together and how I was going to make them connect. So thank you, Iona Mead, literally, seriously, for showing me how these pieces come together, how I can serve many and not wear myself down trying to fit people in doing one-on-one. But I didn't know all that. So this is still a journey, right? I'm still creating and piecing pieces together and parts together. But I shifted. I took that leap of faith because I really felt nudged to do so. I wasn't financially prepared and ready and to do that. I gave myself 6 months and then some things changed and then I added more on my plate. And it's like, okay, so let's change that. I'll continue working on the business, keep trying to figure it out. This was before I had met Iona. Still trying to figure it out on my own. And then I was taking care of my granddaughter and I was helping homeschool her and watching her throughout the day while my son worked. And then he paid the bills. So my basic needs were met. I didn't really make extra money. Basic needs were met. Living minimally, right, to try to fulfill my purpose and live my purpose. This was my mindset, not knowing what the heck I was doing. To then taking care of mom, right, because things happen, life changes. To getting down to that, I've got nothing left, but I still have bills to pay. Like I need to be giving out. Like I have to still pay on my responsibilities. I still have to take care of those things, but I don't have any of that type of energy, money coming in to pay it out. Like none. So once mom got in a position, my bills were so far behind, right? I got a part-time gig working at a hotel. So I work front desk still at a hotel, which then allowed me to pay on my bills. Now I'm caught up on everything. So I'm still helping mom, looking after mom, taking care of my mom. The hotel is amazing at working around my, her doctor's appointments. I was able to invest a little bit more into my business so I can actually expand out and have the opportunity to do these things, right? StreamYard costs money. Our Thinkific is the platform I use to put my courses on. That costs money, right? Internet, computer, all the things. You guys know, all the things. That allowed me a sense to a degree of financial freedom. When you think of, and I want to cover this more when we talk about the solar plexus and our identity, our self-human identity, that's big, because there was a time when I was going to school, right? As you're growing up and you're trying to figure out what you're going to be. And what you're going to be, are you going to be worthy? Will you be worthy enough in the career choice that you make? Will you make enough money to be worthy? Will you work hard enough to be able to make the money morally and ethically? Right? All these different things that we internalize in our beliefs about money or financial freedom. Was I a failure in my business because I had to go get a job at a hotel? I don't think so. It's nice. If I want something now, I can get it. If I want to upgrade, so I just talk about those things that come in, right? It's not always in the form of a dollar, in a sense, like money specifically, but an opportunity or a discount or an offer or a service or an exchange or a gift. I'm going to look into something a little bit more, but it might be worth the investment, a small investment. Excuse me. Allowing myself to receive opportunities, allowing myself to receive love and support, allowing myself to receive gifts, teaching myself to say, I won't say no, right? So I don't know if you're familiar with Law of Attraction, Abraham Hicks or Esther Abraham Hicks. They talk about, as you're making, you plan to manifest, and you create your plan for your future. So financial freedom, what is that going to look like to you? What do you want your life to look like? How do you want to experience your life, right? Get detailed. Feel that. Start to feel it. Start to see it. Start to experience it. Start to live it. Allow it to come in, right? Then we start to notice the contrast and the resistance. That's what I call money blocks. Yeah? Contrast and resistance. What's stopping me? What's getting in my way from receiving that lifestyle? What's getting in my way from having that financial freedom? What's getting in my way? And starting to dissolve that so that I can receive. Maybe I had to go from billion to million. Iona does a game, Bank 50K in 50 days. I lost my vibrational money. Wasn't even real money, right? Vibrational money. Because I couldn't bring myself to spend it. Silliness. I couldn't even play it's like saying Monopoly. I can't buy that property. I can't spend the money. Or no. Don't pay me for landing on my property in this Monopoly game, because I just feel so icky about taking that money. It's kind of the same thing. How eye-opening. Great opportunity to really get to delve within, be that observer, and see what comes up. Thank you for listening on the live or the replay. I hope you enjoy this experience with me. This is the beginning of the creation of my book. Part of the beginning. I already started some of it, but yeah, getting in some details and nitty-gritties. So please drop some comments. Let me know what you think, what your experiences are. If you don't mind sharing. If you resonated with anything I said, I'm going to go back and listen again, because as you know, I'll flow and then I don't really remember what I said. So I have to go back and listen. But I like that. I think it's very interesting. I hope you have a wonderful day, evening, whatever time in the world it is for you. I honestly don't know when I'll do the second one. My goal is to do at least one video a week. I'll probably clip it and do some shorts as well. But I am going to use this. I've set the goal in my mind to take the next 8 weeks, do videos, whether it's one a week, however it pans out, to then be able to incorporate some of that information into the book. So if you want to come along, if I post it like a heads up on a live, hit the notification so you know when I'm on. You can hop on with me and share some ideas. Let's get this conversation going. I'll talk to you soon. So much love to you.